Welcome to the What If podcast with your hosts, Spencer Worth Davis and Ryan Copperoo.
Cosmonaut who was up in
Wasn't it his own piss though?
I'm sorry, what?
Wasn't it his own piss?
His pee became a sentient being and knocked on the door?
No, it froze and was hitting the side of the ship. Or is that the different story?
I never heard that the piss. What?
The piss ghost. The Russian piss
The
ghost.
frozen piss space ghost?
I might be combining two stories.
Space piss ghost?
Maybe that was. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, it's a podcast. Welcome.
You're listening to the What If podcast. My name is Ryan.
I'm Spencer, and Adrian Gorder's here.
Adrian Gorder!
Howdy, everyone. How y'all doing?
Long time listener, first time joiner.
I'm a super fan.
Hey, baby.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Welcome to the show, man.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
We're glad to have
sprung
you.
on me. I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely.
I got no stories for y'all.
That's
all right.
okay. We have stories you can react to as you see fit, my friend.
I'm a good reactor.
I read a book and a half. I got stories.
Sick.
Right? That's almost 2 books.
So I will first speak to our listeners. You guys made us do this, which I say with love because
You shaming people again?
No, not in the
good.
least. I'm applauding / thanking people. The What If You Disappeared episode, our first What If You Disappeared episode.
Super scary.
Thank you. Gordon knows. Has been one of our most popular episodes. It's an episode that helps a lot of people find us and become fans of the show, which is very dope. And I think we even mentioned it at the end of that episode. We're like, yo, there's so much more to this crazy disappearing stuff that we thought we could at some point and should at some point do a part 2 of What If You Disappeared.
DJ Khaled, another one button.
Another one.
I don't have it. I'm just going to say the name of buttons I wish I had.
I'm looking at a
we the best
soundboard
music,
in front
guys.
of
We the
Spencer
best
right
music.
now.
I don't know what any of these are right now.
But yeah, we are doing What If You Disappeared part 2. And we have a whole new set of stories related to, people going bye-bye.
So last time we mostly and I think entirely focused on David Paulides' missing 411.
Yeah, we're gonna expand today a little bit further outside of that. But before we dive into the meat of the show, shout out TJ.
We
We have a couple of shout outs we wanted to put out there.
My guy TJ sent us an email about a UFO that he saw, and we actually got to the bottom
of it.
Figured out what it was.
Yeah, but it was
no longer unidentified.
Yeah, it was a very cool story, and the way he presented it was very like, hey man, I'm just trying to tell y'all this is what I saw, and I don't entirely know how to figure it out. And we do get those occasionally from you guys. We don't always talk about them, but we get them from you all occasionally. So we just want to recommend that if y'all have anything weird you want to share with me and Spencer, hi@whatifpodcast.com is the email, and y'all know we love hearing from you. So
I've left them a very long. Back when they had the phone number, I left them very long.
Our Skype is working.
Our Skype is working.
What?
You can still leave voicemails at 612-246.
I just have to remember to check it.
4614.
So I can keep calling in like 2 a.m.
Yes, sir.
That's what I gotta say.
Yes,
we're all
why
good?
not?
Yeah.
Tight.
Tight. Also, we wanted to send one more shout out outside of TJ. Thanks, TJ, for sending your story. Keep listening. Keep sending us stuff. We want to send a shout out to Jose K, who's our first Tanzanian listener, as far as we's aware of. So yeah, thanks Jose for listening. Dude, hit us up on the Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/whatifpod. And just said he's been enjoying the show from Tanzania, which
and riding
is
the alien Puma space train, my guy.
Yes, indeed.
Direct quote from Jose.
So shout out to Jose, man. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for shooting us the message. It was great to hear from like I said, our first Tanzanian listener.
Is that your first listener on the continent of Africa?
First one that's ever hit us up. We technically have statistics and analytics that would show us.
Big words.
Power lunch, big words.
Power lunch.
Did you say power lunch?
Yeah, like
did.
business words.
Yeah.
What you say to business meeting?
Wearing suits.
Lanyards.
Synergy.
These are not business words.
Buy,
No,
sell.
they totally are, bro. Spencer doesn't know. He's never worked in like a true
I never
business
leave. I never
environment.
leave my house.
You just make beats, dog. You don't know business like me and Ryan.
Oh my God, amazing.
Things I've done today.
Do you even want to say it
Made
on the
music,
show?
consumed things. Now I'm recording a podcast.
We love you guys.
You guys are the first people I've seen today. if that gives you any insight into what my days are like.
And
It's like 6 p.m.
It's 7:30, whatever.
Jesus.
Well,
Okay, hold on.
that makes it worse as far as Gorder's point was, but yes.
Top countries: United States, Canada, UK, Australia, Sweden. I'm on page 3 without any African countries.
All right. Well, shout out to Jose, man. Tell your friends we'd love to get more listenership out there. And
South Africa.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take y'all off topic.
No, not in the least, man. Pretty much 80% of our podcast is off topic with 20% of a remaining thread.
No, I picked up on it.
yeah. That carries us through.
All right.
So after shout outs, we're going to dive into What If You Disappeared Part 2
Hey,
today.
Ryan.
Hi, Spencer.
Have you seen a movie called Missing 411?
No, but I don't feel bad about having not seen this one because it's a lot more obscure than a lot of the other ones we talk about.
That's true. It's way more relevant to our show today, though.
That is very true. Did you go see it or did you rent it? Did you buy it online?
I watched it on Amazon.
Okay.
I don't think they did it.
Can you buy it on Amazon or is it on Prime? You can just buy it.
Wait, this is a legit movie. Like, this is a movie.
Yeah, dude made a documentary, bro.
They worked for years on this documentary. It came out in May, I think. I just tried to search Amazon on Amazon. That's not going to help me.
Gotta get it together.
Should we do
Type the word Amazon into the search bar on Amazon.
That's how you break Amazon.
Like, did you mean us? Did you want to see us?
Oh, it's just telling me I own it.
Should we just, I know we kind of said David Paulides' name, but should we give a really quick background of like who that dude was before we talk about the movie that he made?
Yes, he's still alive.
He is, what did you say?
You said who he was.
Okay, who he is.
He's still out here hunting
Who
Bigfoots.
he was when we previously talked about him, I guess, and who he was before this life. So David Paulides was a former police detective in San Jose, California. He's also since then become a writer and a journalist. He has written many a book at this point.
6,
Spencer says, books. Does that include the 2 on Bigfoot, or is that just the Missing 411 books?
Oh, there are 6 Missing 411 books.
Okay.
He has Bigfoot books?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Oh.
He wrote 2 Bigfoot books before he wrote the Missing 411.
Wait, how many?
2.
Oh.
Why?
He's being an asshole.
Because he's
Gorder gets it.
Yeah, I worked with your ass.
No, I did not know about the Bigfoot books.
Yeah,
There's six Missing 411 books.
Yeah, and so before the Missing 411 books, he wrote 2 Bigfoot books, so he's kind of known as a cryptozoologist in some worlds. And then he transitioned into the Missing 411 world, which was that series of 6 books you mentioned about disappearances of people, both from public parks and just generally from strange places under strange circumstances. Is that a fair...
Yeah, he's developed like a profile, I guess,
of cases
of missing people. It started with people who went missing in national parks. It then expanded into people who went missing in more urban areas. And then his most recent book was about people, hunters who went missing. So it's this profile he's developed of people who go missing. There's not a clear explanation for why they went missing. So it's not, they only take cases where they can rule out an animal attack or an intentional disappearance where someone meant to disappear. That's what intentional means. Or, in case you guys didn't know.
Thank you.
You smart.
Or foul play or things like that. These usually happen somewhere in nature, with the exception of the one book called A Sobering Coincidence, where he looked at college-age young men who went missing in urban areas.
Yeah, and I should say really quickly, we made it very clear, but go back to part 1 to hear some of the things we're referencing right now. The part 1 episode of What If You Disappeared on the What If podcast is, I could pull it up, but I'm not sure which number it was. You'll find it if you scroll. But we talk about some of those inner city disappearances as well as some of the natural disappearances, et cetera. And tell some of those stories. We're going to tell more today, and we're going to get further into the topic in some other ways as well. But I mean, you don't have to listen to that part first, but it would help if you haven't listened to part 1.
Do yourself a favor and just listen to it.
It's episode 24.
Thanks, Gorder. Doug.
I'm just going to keep it real.
All right.
Episode 24 if you want to check it out.
Yeah, cool. So go hit 24 if you want to just like throw this on pause, scan back. It's probably right in the same app that you used to do this anyway. And check that one out and then come back to us if you haven't heard it yet.
So he's been writing books about this phenomenon. The books don't offer any explanation for what's going on. It's just, they're all case files. So it's a page, 2 pages describing what happened, when, where, if the person was found, and then he gives like a little 1 to 2 paragraph summary of what's strange about it, why this case is important, etc.
Something we talked about in the part 1 episode was just that his writing is reminiscent of a guy who was both a detective and kind of a journalist. Like, it's not the most thrilling content, but it's not really supposed to be. The way that he intentionally writes is like, I don't know, I found out some weird stuff. Here it is for you. Like,
honestly, that's what makes it more thrilling.
Yeah.
If he was thrown in like fantastical details, I wouldn't be interested. Like, this is what makes it so bone chilling.
Yeah, it's just
very
documentation
matter-of-fact.
almost. Yeah,
This is
matter
what
of
it
fact,
is.
that's good.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, he and his production team put out a movie called Missing 411. That it's a documentary. It covers 5 cases that fit this profile. And
it's only 5. I thought it was more than that.
it primarily focuses on 1.
Oh, wow.
And then there are 4 others. It's on Amazon, iTunes, all that stuff. I think you have to pay for it. I don't think it's available just to stream with your subscription to any of those things. But
We give free shouts out to David Paulides, hi at whatifpodcast.com if you ever want to talk to us on the show, man.
answer our emails, bro.
Yeah, we did email you.
A couple times.
Yep.
Yeah, so this movie came out in May, focuses on these 5 cases. It primarily focuses on the case of Dior Koons, who was I think he was 3 when he went missing. Oh, he was 2 when he went missing from a campground in Idaho.
Wait, is this the Robot Grandma story or is that?
No.
Okay.
I did come across that one again today.
Okay. Word.
I've
Yeah.
told that to so many people
Good.
at so many bars.
It's a great one.
ridiculous.
I found some other almost as good ones that I'll share in a minute.
Sweet.
So it primarily focuses on Dior Koons, who was camping with his parents, his grandpa, and a friend of his grandpa's in Idaho. This was early July of 2015, so pretty recent.
Oh, wow.
He was with his parents. They were walking to a stream. They were probably about 30 feet from their campground. The kid decided they didn't want to go with him and he was going to walk back to his grandpa. So that his parents turned around, yelled to his grandpa, "Hey, Dior's going to come back and hang out with you." He says, "Okay." His grandpa turns around to set something down. Kid is gone.
How old again did you say the kid was?
2.
2? How well are 2-year-olds walking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can walk a little bit.
Can they walk a little bit?
It's kind of like a cowboy that just got off a horse.
Also,
Okay.
if you
Yeah, a little,
if you
little
fall
waddle.
down, you should be even easier to find.
Well, that's real. Or you
And
should
you
just be
can't go
moving
far.
slow as hell. Yeah.
Oh, he's just laying down right in front of me. I found him.
He doesn't have a marathon runner's gait like he's about to take 10 steps and be like, I don't know where the fuck he went.
Oh, he's right there with his face in the dirt. Got him.
Yeah.
He's here. Found him.
Yellow overalls and all.
Yeah. Pick him up by the back of his overalls and set his ass straight again. Keep it moving, boy.
They searched for him for a couple hours before calling police. They did a full search and rescue. They had teams of dogs and people on horses and
Can I just
arm to
hop in
arm.
really quick? How is it possible for that to be necessary? That level of search for
What else are you gonna do?
No, but I mean, yes, but I just mean 100 yards away or not even 100 yards away. What did you say, 100 feet away?
Yeah, it was super close, within eyesight.
From here to here and a couple different turnarounds, a kid was so unfindable that they had to get dogs and a search party to find that 2-year-old.
I think that's probably pretty standard search and rescue if you're in an area that big. And
Yeah.
Well, with tall grass too, and all the shrubbery and stuff, I imagine you do that's why they do the whole thing where they lock elbows and walk
And
in a
combs.
line. Yeah,
especially if you're looking
Yeah.
for somebody that's 2 feet tall.
yeah.
Right. I guess I just mean
That's how you grow, right? One foot per
1
year.
foot per year. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
That's why I'm 33 feet tall right now.
Cool, just checking.
yo, Gorder barely fit in our studio.
problem. Thanks, Andre the Giant.
That was my best big person voice.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
So it mainly focuses on this one case, and then for some reason that I can't quite figure out, 4 other children who went missing in national parks.
Which is strange because if you listen to part 1, none of the stories, or one of the stories we told was about a child, but the other 4 were about adults of some kind.
It's not like the books don't cover stories about kids. I don't know why he chose to exclusively focus on stories about kids
For the documentary.
In the documentary, because
Yeah.
in some ways it seems like kids would go missing way more easily.
Sure.
They don't know where they are.
And slow and
They're small.
That's the only thing I can think of is how small they are. Is why. But they're also dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be mean.
No, they are. They're dumb and small and slow. They don't,
You get confused and scared quickly when you're a kid. I know I did.
Well, right, and you're not going to know your surroundings. You're not going to have many survival skills as a 2-year-old.
Right.
But at the same time, you should also be easier to find because you can't get very far.
Yeah.
You're going to be loud, I would think. I don't know. It just seemed like an odd choice and not very representative of the books and the phenomenon as a whole.
Yep.
It seemed like they intentionally picked 5 of the tamest stories that they had covered or cases that they had covered in the books. And I think it's probably, having listened to other interviews with David Paulides, he's very big on keeping his credibility. And as a former police officer, former detective, someone who has to work with law enforcement all the time to be able to get access to the information that he covers, I think he doesn't want to present any front that may make him look like he's not credible or that he's some sort of kook or
sensationalist. Because if you put out a video like, this crazy shit happened and that crazy shit happened, it doesn't give any credence to the actuality of it.
If you read his books, he covers those crazy stories with the same sort of approach and the same tact that he covers.
Yeah, but video is a different
stuff.
medium. Like, I mean, I imagine if you want to represent what he wrote in 6 books, you said?
Yeah.
So 6 books, he wants to represent that in 2 hours tops?
Yeah. Like
you're going to have to give a full spectrum of views. That's my guess.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think he gave the full spectrum of what this phenomenon really covers.
Okay.
It's like he took the tamest. It's like he took one slice of it of, kids go missing in national parks, when really it's people of all ages go missing in national parks, but also from their campgrounds in hunting areas, and also from urban areas, and also from all over the country and outside of the country.
And also not just kids, adults.
It's adults. It's people
elderly
with
people.
Yeah, and in the interviews he talks about how, he has found a trend that German people or people of German ancestry disappear at a higher rate.
What?
He's found that people who are active in the sciences, specifically physics, go missing at a higher rate. Like, he has this information that's really, really fascinating.
Right.
If it's real information.
Yeah,
and
if it's true. Yeah.
And if you're putting it in your books and you're saying it in public, I'm assuming you at least believe it.
Right.
Why not put that sort of information out there instead of just like, oh yeah, sometimes 2-year-olds go missing in national parks. Well, yeah, of course they do.
I do think, though, to your point, Quarter, like, I guess I can see an angle of this where, because like we talked about with the way that his whole stuff is very cut and dry, here's what I discovered.
Yeah.
He's trying not to say, as a former cryptozoologist who has written books about Sasquatch, my belief is that the people who are disappearing in national parks are getting yanked by interdimensional Bigfoot and getting fucked off into another universe.
Which he's never said.
No.
And make sure to remind people every time he talks publicly that he has never said.
Yes, no. And
for real?
Yeah.
No portal guns, nothing?
Yeah.
All right.
And the reason I bring it up is because I think that I have to imagine that whether it be his movies or his books, his supposition is that people will infer that is his personalized conclusion around these things. So the broader strokes he can paint to illustrate the phenomenon without actually getting into the like, what if it's this? He's like, the more I can stay in my lane and I can point a finger at it without saying I'm pointing a finger at it and I'm calling it what I think it is. I'm just pointing a finger at it and going, you tell me what it is. I'm just pointing a finger at it.
They don't even get to that though. It's way more. It reads like a, I don't know, like just a very benign, if there can be such a thing, missing persons report. They don't even necessarily draw similarities between the 5 of them or among the 5 of them
in the documentary itself.
Yeah, I think part of it is he and his team were very aware that this would reach a different audience than the self-published books that he sells on his Bigfoot website.
Yeah, that's exactly, yes.
And they wanted to present a not crazy Bigfoot guy front as their first introduction to Netflix and Amazon and
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm sure they invested a ton of money into it and might need to make some of that back too. And crazy Bigfoot theories maybe aren't going to, bring in the most revenue.
Is the production value of a quality where you feel like when you're watching the documentary that it's
really good?
Is it really well done?
Nice.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
The production value is very high.
Dude, I gotta watch it. I'm all right.
Wait, so before you go on, I just want to add to this. So today, before I came here, I was with my friend Kat, and I was telling her about that episode, actually. I had no idea you were doing this today. I literally was like, yeah, I'm hanging out with my friend. He does that podcast I told you about. And, I told her about that one episode that she's got to check out.
Oh, tight.
So I started going through it. I did Robot Grandma, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she
Grim.
she got real combative with me. Combative?
Combative.
Yeah. And I was not like mean, just like, I don't know. Science explains most things, and you don't fuck with nature, just don't fuck with nature. I was like, no, but that doesn't make sense. Like, why are there folded clothes and tents and no bones and no animal marks? Like, she just wasn't there. So to reach people like her, I think the documentary maybe went more in that line.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I agree. I think that was definitely their strategy. They're doing a pretty wide release of it. I'm sure whoever was doing their PR and marketing felt similarly.
Yeah.
It's worth watching. If you've read the books, it's going to be a lot more tame version of what's in the books.
Got it.
But the production value is very high. The information is great. He gets access to everyone involved in these cases. He's interviewing these kids' parents and relatives and park rangers who were on the site and people who were involved in the searches.
Oh, that would be cool.
Wow.
Yeah, he goes
That's pretty real.
very deep on it. And some of these cases were very, very public, especially Dior Kuntz, the one that he focuses most of the film on. So there's a ton of information out there. The parents have been in the public for years now.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets both of them. They're both heavily involved in the film. Everyone that was on site when the kid disappeared actually are in the film in some capacity.
Whoa.
So it's definitely worth a watch if you're more prone to the weird side of things like I am. It's maybe a little disappointing in that regard, but I mean, it's been doing really well and reaching way more people than the books ever did. So
I wonder too, if you go on Wikipedia or wherever or David Paulides' website and you look at the books that he's written.
canammissing.com is his website.
No dashes, no periods, just canammissing.com.
I think so. Or just, Google his name.
Yeah. But I think like related to his catalog of books, one of the things too that I wonder is each of his books have a very like specific bent. It's like this version of this in this angle, this version of this in this angle.
Yeah, the first two were Eastern and Western United States.
Yeah.
Then he did A Sobering Coincidence, which was primarily young men missing from urban areas.
Yeah.
There's one about hunters.
Yeah.
There's one about everything outside of the U.S., and I don't remember what the sixth one is.
And part of me then wonders, is there a possibility that dude is like, I'm going to make 5 more documentaries and I'm going to start with an easy step into the water. And then V2 is going to get a little more into like, these are the crazier ones that I think are strange. And
that would be great. I hesitate a little bit because it took them so long to get this made and get it out.
Yeah.
This is something that he's been talking about for several years at least, and it got delayed a couple times, and they went through a couple of rounds of funding because I think they did the whole thing independently.
Sure.
But again, if it succeeds, if they make some money off of it, that should also expedite whatever is next. I would think they can get a little more help up front on the next one. So, all right.
Word.
Couple quick stories.
We got more missing 411s. We got additional new David Paulides.
So on the first episode that we did, episode 24, we focused primarily on 2 of his books, A Sobering Coincidence and Hunters. But we only got to do, we only did a handful of stories. So I went back through a couple of his books today and pulled 3 or 4 stories just to kind of if you listen to the first episode, to kind of expand on what we covered there. And if you're just jumping in now, to kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff that he covers.
Show me what you got.
Was there a new episode this week?
Oh,
Yes.
it's the best, one of the best episodes ever.
Fuck yeah,
man.
let's hurry up and finish this podcast so I can watch it.
Yeah, dude.
We're
Okay.
talking about Rick and Morty for those of you who do not understand.
Yeah,
the
get your life
reference.
together.
and start watching Rick and Morty so we can all be weird people.
So we're
together.
going to start with a story from his most recent book, Hunters, which came out, I think, earlier this year. This is a story from 2006 from northern Minnesota, of all places.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh man! For those of you who are new to the show, we are based in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
we all
Sometimes
frequent northern Minnesota.
We frequent.
I don't. Y'all do.
Liar.
I stay in
You were
Southside.
just telling me about how you didn't know what satellites were because you went up north for the first time with your dumb ass.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Did you see your first satellite?
I didn't know it. Yeah, it was real embarrassing. It was me and all my friends from when we were kids, and we
Yep.
all grew up in St. Paul.
Right.
And it's just, we're all city kids. Like, we didn't have, like, family with farms and shit like that.
Yeah.
And we all went up there, and it was like, yo, there's mad shooting stars up here. why is that?
Moving shit.
Yeah, it turns out it was a goddamn meteor shower.
Oh,
And none of us
well,
knew it. We just thought when you go up north, there's a lot of shooting stars.
I mean, that is a shooting star, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
it's not like
that
there's
many.
a constant meteor shower.
Yeah, just-
Oh no. Yeah. Okay.
I was
right.
like, oh,
no,
out
you're-
here in the forest, you
Yeah.
just see mad shooting
Jeez.
They were up there in the middle of the Pleiadian? No.
You keep
Poseidon?
Sure. I'll agree with
The
anything
Poseidon
you
adventure.
say. But I saw a satellite.
Googly moogly.
The percolator? Fuck, I don't know. It starts with a P. It's a meteor shower. All right.
That's tight.
Northern Minnesota, 2006.
We're scared. This is gonna happen to us. I hope
October
it doesn't.
16th.
I'm knocking on wood.
There are two guys. This guy, Corey, and his buddy, I don't know his buddy's name. Corey and his buddy are hunting in northern Minnesota.
Can it be Sean?
Corey and Sean.
Thank you.
Topanga was absent.
Perfect.
That's where you were going with that, right?
100% correct.
Okay, cool.
No, you crushed it.
Corey and Sean are hunting in northern Minnesota. They get to their campsite. It's a spot that they went every year to hunt in the fall. They get to their campsite, and Sean realizes that they don't have gas or enough gas in the truck. So he's going to go into town, get some gas. Corey's going to stay and get their tents and stuff set up. Sean comes back about an hour and a half later, and Corey's not there. He sees that he's taken his gun, ammo, his dog, a lighter, some cigarettes, his jacket, and a cell phone with him. All those things are gone, along with Corey.
That makes sense.
Literally all the important things you
I don't
could.
leave the house with any of those. Without any of those things.
My dog, my gun. So, yeah,
It's a country song up in
he
here.
obviously planned to go somewhere because he took all of the important shit with him. And Sean starts looking around the immediate vicinity for him, doesn't see him, ventures out about a mile and a half from their campsite, yelling for him. He starts honking the truck horn and flashing the lights in case maybe dude got lost and can't, is trying to find his way back. And this is northern Minnesota. They're in basically a lot of the area that they're in is either lake, bog, or swamp. So it's a very wet, very densely forested area. So there aren't too many places that he could have gone easily.
Yeah.
We talking like Boundary Waters?
Yeah, that's
that
what I was
kind of
gonna
stuff?
ask, yeah.
And he probably couldn't have gotten too far because it would have been very slow going. He doesn't come back. Sean eventually goes to bed, wakes up the next morning, he's still not back, and he goes and contacts the authorities in the closest town. And starting that next day on the 17th, they start a 2-week search for Corey.
It was, sorry, just to clarify, it was just the two of them?
Just the two of them,
no
and a
one
dog.
else. And a dog.
The dog is also missing.
Which I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if a dog goes, if something happens near, like a dog like goes back to where it's comfortable. Like I would imagine he doesn't take
Yeah, but
dog
if it's a campsite,
Yeah, but like he's not going to take dog food with him, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I don't know. I mean, granted, it'd be harder to get home, but dogs can also like follow their tracks backwards. I don't know.
so you're saying the next day they start the search?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they went out there on the 16th. Corey disappeared the night of the 16th. By the midday on the 17th, they have a search team out there looking for him. They don't find him. For 8 days, they're looking. They don't find anything. On the 25th, they find his dog. The dog has been out there for 8 days.
Is it alive?
It is.
Oh, that's good.
The dog is slightly dehydrated, but otherwise fine. 3 days later, on the 28th, they find Corey's lighter and his cigarettes. On the 29th, they find his overalls that he was wearing, his socks, his sweatshirt.
Bro, why all these missing
what
401ks
is
of
it?
people getting naked, man?
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the points in this profile that Paulides developed is that items of clothing will be found usually not near where the person is eventually found, or they'll be found separate from a person who is never found.
What time of year was this?
This was October. So it is.
Yeah.
It's October.
It's chilly,
End of
man.
October in northern Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's going to be pretty cold. And they
Yeah.
actually, by the 30th, they had to call off the search because it started snowing. So it would have been pretty damn cold out there.
Bro, this is the saddest episode of Boy Meets World ever.
Where's Mr. Feeney? Mr. Feeney will get him. Don't worry.
This is how the series ended.
Jesus. Can his dog be named Mr. Feeney, by the way?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
No, don't hesitate on that.
No,
Absolutely.
no, yeah, I just didn't know
You
that
said
made it-
Topanga first, homie.
No, that was me.
That was Spencer.
me.
I just don't know if that makes it sadder or not, but no, it doesn't.
Well, Mr. Feeney's fine.
Yeah,
I
That's
think
true.
I think it's
Mr.
better.
Feeney got rescued. All right, cool.
Just need some water.
So they have to call off the search because it's too cold and they're in a swamp that's covered in snow and ice and stuff. And they called off for the winter and they resumed the search in April. On April 28th, a helicopter flying over the area sees a body. They go down. It is Corey's body. The sheriff's office determined that he died from hypothermia, likely on the first night that he disappeared. And that's the end of it. That was the end of their investigation. That was the official results of their investigation, that he, on the first night, the 16th, died of hypothermia.
How far away from their campground was he found?
14 miles.
14 miles?
So their conclusion was, in that first night, he wandered 14 miles away from his campsite, took off his clothes, set down his lighter and cigarettes in a different location from his clothes. So he would have ditched those earlier for some reason, and then died of hypothermia.
Okay.
What in the
All right.
goddamn
I got a couple
fuck?
things I got to say.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Gorder, go.
First of all, I'm a pack a fucking day smoker. Not proud of it. Don't do it. But you don't leave your cigarettes anywhere.
Also-
You don't drop those fuckers for nothing.
Also, if you're lost in the woods, you're just going to set down your lighter?
Yeah. You
And
know,
then-
see,
and
you're
then
thinking logically. I'm
and then-
thinking if he's panicking, you want those cigarettes, fam.
You
mean,
have a
he's
lighter
right.
and you're about to die of hypothermia.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I don't need it. I mean, okay, there's a lot wrong with this, of course. Hey, 14 miles. All right. So I got that Fitbit thing, right? And I work a shift where I walk all day. I walk at, an
Gordon
8-hour
works in a
shift.
restaurant,
I
for
walk in
those
a
of you
restaurant all
who-
day. But that's like 9 miles tops. That's a lot of walking. I'm dying
Okay.
of tiredness. 14 miles in one night.
Overnight in a swamp.
Yeah,
I
that's
was gonna
impossible.
say, that's indoor.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm on carpet and
Right.
tile.
Right.
And you can see where you're going and you're in no
And
danger
I
of
got arch
falling
support,
in a
dude.
bog.
I'm good. Yeah. Forget about it.
You would
This
have had
is-
to be moving very slowly.
But the first thing that struck me was the cigarettes. That doesn't make any sense.
I have several questions. If you're lost, why would you wander that far in any direction? You have a lighter. You have a jacket. Sit down. Try and make a fire. Wait until the morning. Also, you have a gun with you. Guns are really loud.
Right.
Shoot that damn gun.
Right.
Also, you have a cell phone with you. He never once tried to use his cell phone.
I mean-
they recovered his phone. There was
No.
no activity on
Oh,
it during
come
that time.
on now.
I mean, BWCA, like, having service is pretty rare up there for whatever it's worth.
but you would try.
You wouldn't have tried?
You would try. You would try.
911 alone.
No
you
doubt.
can,
I mean, legit, this sounds crazy, but I don't mean it like this. But like, even like with a gun, you could blast limbs off of trees and have enough firewood to survive the night. I mean, you could shotgun blast a limb off a tree and be like, I will be good till morning.
he's a hunter too, right?
Yeah, they
So
were up
he
there to
knows-
hunt.
Yeah, so
And
he
it-
knows what he's doing. It's not his first time hunting.
It wasn't, he had been to this same location
Ah,
10 plus
shit.
times. They went up there every year to hunt. The
No,
same
it's
two
funky.
guys.
It's funky, I'll tell you that.
14 miles?
Right. So if you get, I mean, he probably at least thought he knew where he was going. We also don't know why he would have gone out. So, okay, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, why did this even fucking start to begin with?
So maybe, and Paulides suggests maybe he saw, they were grouse hunting, I guess. So maybe he saw, is that a bird?
Yeah.
Not a hunter. Is a grouse a bird?
No, dude, you were asking the wrong dude. I just saw
a bird.
I
You
just
both
thought the
laughed at me
farther
like that was a
north you
dumb
go,
question.
there's
No.
more shooting stars. I don't fucking know.
Look, we are all like city/suburb kids, and I can tell you, yes, the grouse is a bird.
Okay,
All right,
tight.
wait.
So Paulides suggests maybe he saw a bird and went out after it. He was going to shoot it.
And he chased that fucking bird to
Well,
the end
okay.
of the universe.
No, hold on. Maybe it was compiling small bad decisions.
Bro, was the bird named Topanga?
Sure. So maybe he follows it out there. He tracks it for a mile or two or something. Realizes, or maybe doesn't realize that he's lost. Makes a wrong turn. Continues in the wrong direction. Further away. He's pretty confident.
Right.
Oh, it's just a little further. It's just a little further.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe, but that's so far. And then also maybe. I don't know how they would have determined that he died that first night because they didn't find him for 6 months.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just wrong.
Science.
Could you do it within
I
hours
don't
though?
know.
Like that doesn't seem
yeah.
possible. After his body had been frozen all winter. Like
People
I don't.
have lived on top of mountains for weeks.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. Late October up north, it's cold. It ain't. How is it?
But
that
it wasn't
bad?
even freezing. No.
Yeah,
but
that
I also don't
doesn't
know.
make any sense.
I also don't know scientifically what they could track on your body 6 months later.
That's what I'm saying.
that would
So
be like, oh, he died in.
Oh, I see.
where you could
yeah.
pinpoint
He
it
died in
within
24
hours.
hours,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like so.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe he got that far off over the course of 2 or 3 days, and they're just wrong about dating when he actually died.
Mhm.
Even
It's still,
so,
it doesn't explain a lot
Yeah,
of stuff
even
still
so.
though. Like why didn't he start a fire? Why didn't he try to use his phone? Why didn't he try firing his gun? They never recovered his gun, by the way.
It was
When they
nuts.
found him, he did not have his gun with him.
Yeah.
But there was also, I mean, they said he died of hypothermia. It wasn't like he got shot. There was nothing physically wrong with him other than he fucking froze to death.
Is there any
I mean-
alcohol or mental disorders going on here? Any drug use?
I would also like to clarify.
Also part of the Paulides profile that if there's any evidence of any of those things,
It's out.
they
throws it
toss
out.
it. Yeah.
I would also like to clarify that, like, as a former / casual smoker sometimes, yes, you definitely wouldn't put down your cigarettes. But if you're in the middle of the woods in the middle of October and you fucking are by yourself, you're not dropping your fucking gun. Like,
Right.
your gun would literally be the last thing to leave your hands.
Or your clothes.
Yeah, he didn't have his fucking overalls on. What the fuck? I'm
Okay.
forgetting this dude got found naked as balls in the middle of the woods.
Dude, that
So
I'm sorry, you guys. I got real aggro there, but I'm confused.
no.
the thing
Speak
with the
your truth,
clothes, if he died of hypothermia,
There is a thing.
allegedly people who are in the end stages
Yes.
of hypothermia
Yes,
will remove
yes.
clothing.
They feel warm.
I-
'Cause their body's
Sure,
dying.
maybe. The one thing that Paulides brought up that I wouldn't have thought of, but is pretty weird, they found the dog. It seemed to be fine. It was alive. It was healthy. It looked like it had eaten. It didn't look like it hadn't eaten for 8 days. They said it was dehydrated. This dog is surrounded by nothing
lakes.
but water. This dog was dehydrated in a bog, in a lake for 8 days.
Do you think dogs are smart enough to know, though, that, like,
To
the
drink
shallow...
water when
Yes.
they see it?
No, I'm saying no,
Yes.
no. Not smart enough to drink water. Smart enough to know that sometimes shallow waters in the boundary waters can be like bad for you.
I've seen dogs drink out of the Mississippi in the middle of the city. They're dumb
Yeah.
as shit. They
That's-
see
yeah,
water. They
that's
drink
true.
out of a toilet bowl.
That's
Why
true.
wouldn't they
Yeah,
drink some?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Did you
So-
say when did it start snowing? That night?
No, not for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Oh.
Full 2
Oh.
weeks later.
So the dog got found before the snow even happened.
Oh yeah. So the search lasted 2 weeks. They had to call it off because it snowed. The dog was found 8 days into that.
And then the dude was found the following spring.
6+ months later. Yeah.
Was there any like marks, anything weird?
Not that was reported.
No,
at
that
least.
was reported. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I said this all through the first episode. I hate these so much, man. I hate these
I'm
so
sitting
much.
over here like my whole body crammed into one corner of my chair, just scared.
Dude, it's in Minnesota too. I'm gonna like never go to the Northwoods again unless I'm with like 14 people.
Okay, I listened to an episode of Stuff They Don't Want You to Know. You ever listen to that
What?
podcast?
I listen to stuff you should know.
So there's
all
a
the time.
conspiracy version of it called Stuff They Don't Want You to
Oh,
Know.
that's
Yes.
cute.
It's
I like
pretty
that.
good. Yeah. They did an episode a couple weeks ago, or maybe in July, with Paulides, like right around the time that the movie came out. And they were kind of having a similar reaction of like, well, then why do we ever fucking go anywhere? And shouldn't we all just stay in our houses all the time?
Smart.
And Paulides said, like, listen, I know this stuff as well as anybody. I spend all of my time researching this stuff,
Right.
and I still spend a bunch of my free time out in nature. You just have to be smart about it. And so he actually made some practical recommendations instead of scaring people into trying to buy his books for once. He said he doesn't ever go out in nature without telling someone where he's going to be and for how long.
Well, yeah.
Some of these people did not. This dude just wandered off without saying anything to his buddy.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
He brings, I forget what it's called, but it's some sort of emergency transponder.
It's like a GPS beacon thing.
Yeah. Where you can
You're
activate.
actually legally required to carry them in certain parts of the BWCA.
Yeah. So
You
basically,
literally can't
Yeah,
go
yeah, I've
past
heard about
certain
that.
points without having one of them with you.
you carry this thing with you that, when activated, pings a GPS signal to whatever, 3 satellites, whatever you need, and then directly to like the National Park Service.
Yeah.
And it instantly initiates a search and rescue team.
It's like a legit an SOS beacon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he carries a gun with him whenever he's out in the woods. And he's like, all but one of the thousands of cases I've ever come across, all but one person would have survived if they had done those 3 things. So
I mean,
As far- right.
Also, here's the thing. He picked
Robot
up his
grandma.
cell phone.
right.
He brought his dog, his cell phone, his gun, his cigarettes, his lighter, his coat, you said?
yep, he had a jacket on.
So there was intent. He was headed somewhere with intent,
You would think so, yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you if you're going to grab...
or maybe not headed somewhere specifically, but headed out with like, I'm kind of preparing to go
Yeah.
out into the evening.
He wasn't dumb about it.
I mean, I guess I always have my smokes in my coat. I always have my cell phone in my pocket.
But why the
I'm
fuck, if you're up
clothed.
north and it's you and a buddy, why the fuck are you going, like, that dude's like, all right, dude, I'm going to head in town to get some gas. I'll be
Yeah.
back in like 45 minutes. You're like, all right, cool, sounds good, dude. All right, I'm fucking off into the woods. like, not leaving a note, not calling my buddy, I'm out. Like, that's
What?
not what you do.
Right. That's why I think it was probably a series of small bad decisions
Yeah.
that when added up equaled you're dead.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I
oh,
suppose.
that's a really big grouse. Grouse?
Sure, yes.
Water
grouse.
moccasin. What are they called?
Grouse.
Water moccasin? That's,
a
a snake.
flower, right?
That's a snake.
That's a snake, fam.
See, I don't know.
See, I don't know.
I
But
can tell
so-
you how to get anywhere on the bus, though. Like that. I know the schedules. I'm good.
So maybe, a bird walks by and he's like, oh, let me kill that bird real quick.
Yeah.
And then the bird is extra sneaky and he's got to chase it for a while. I don't know how hunting works. But he gets out there a little further and one bad decision turns into 2, turns into 3.
Some Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb shit.
I don't think his buddy left. He's like, now's my time to go die in the woods. See ya.
No.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't.
man.
No.
All right. 2 more
right.
really
Yeah,
quick
yeah,
because
Yeah,
this is taking fucking forever.
we are gonna have to make this a part 2.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, we'll do
No breaks.
well, we do have to
No
do
breaks till Brooklyn.
Spencer likes saying no
Damn
breaks.
it.
We'll do a couple more stories before you take a break. All right, let's go.
I don't remember what we're doing after the break, so
That's cool.
it's good news for me.
All right, good.
This is from his Western United States book. July 4th, 1955, 2-year-old Ida Mae Curtis. That's a good old lady name right there.
Anime. Very different era.
My great-grandma was named Ida Mae.
No shit.
Yep.
Is this your grandma?
Maybe.
Oh,
Damn.
If my last name is actually Curtis, it might be.
Well,
It is.
2-year-old.
That's why I'm here today.
Thanks, Dad. Are you my dad?
no, we are representatives of Ancestry.com. and
We got a new sponsor, guys. Ida Mae Curtis disappeared from a logging camp in a national forest in Libby, Montana.
okay.
Her 9-year-old brother claimed that a bear took her from the tent where they were sleeping. carrying the toddler under one leg while running away on the other three.
Pretty sure that's not how bears work, but carry on.
The,
I don't know much about bears, but I'm pretty sure that kid's going in the mouth, not under the arm like a fucking football Heisman fucking run.
Heisman fucking run.
Yep.
Their grandpa had a similar had a similar reaction, but he actually also saw the bear.
Oh damn!
Appear to be running on three legs while carrying quote something with the fourth.
Whoa!
Turns out it was his granddaughter.
It was a football.
They located the girl alive. 2 days later, inside sort of like a lean-to shelter made out of tree branches and stuff.
Okay.
Her parents asked her what happened, where she had been, and she said that she was with, quote, a mother bear that comforted her throughout the night and kept her warm.
How old was this girl again?
This is Robot Grandma Part 2. That's all this is.
Wait.
Except it's Bigfoot bear.
Yeah, Bigfoot Grandma Part 2.
Barefoot? Barefoot? Barefoot?
Sure.
Okay. How old was this girl?
2.
2?
2.
A 2-year-old girl
She
was
was
not
2.
telling mom and dad where she was.
3-year-olds can talk.
Kind of.
Okay, you're right. She said bear. 9-year-old said bear. Old man said bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 for 3 on bear.
Wait, what about
That's
the
true.
legs? Did any of them say anything about the legs? Was it besides the one? The 3
Yeah,
legs?
all-
All of them confirmed the amount of legs.
Yeah.
Spider bear. So it's a spider bear.
No, it had 4 legs. What are you talking about?
It had fewer legs, not more.
It was 2 bears.
Bears
taped.
have 2 arms.
It was 2 bears stitched back to back for a total of 8 legs,
Bro,
like the
that
pigeon rat.
sounds fucking terrifying.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
If it ever like gets tipped over, it's just a different bear.
Bro, can we remake Gladiator, but with like fucking Pigeon Rat Bear as the villain?
All right, one more.
Wait, that's it? That's the end of the story?
Yeah, she got kidnapped by a bear.
And that was, who made the fucking lean-to that they found her in miles
Bear,
away?
obviously.
That's not a fucking bear then if it's making a lean-to.
Right. Dave thinks it's Bigfoot. Duh.
But he doesn't say it because he doesn't want to be
No,
perceived
but if you
as
read
a
the books, Dave thinks it's Bigfoot.
crazy- Does he sort of like low-key insinuate that it's Bigfoot, or does
No,
he
but he says that a
high-key?
bear built a house.
A furry thing on a few legs carried off a person
Yeah.
and took it to a lean-to.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Okay.
Out of May.
I've got 1, maybe 2 more. We'll see. 8-year-old girl named Catherine goes missing in the Ozark Mountains in 1946.
Ozarks are terrifying.
Yeah.
Are they? Why?
Never been.
Never, me neither. I just heard about them. I was watching a nature special about them. It's terrifying.
Tight.
Too much space.
Too many
Yo, that's real.
too many meteors, bro.
About to get shot by a meteor.
She goes for a walk near where they were camping. She wanders into some thick grass and disappears. 6 days later, they find her. So they have this search party out there. They're yelling for her. They're walking through the woods. Why? What are you laughing?
Do you guys-
an 8-year-old went missing, bro.
Do you guys think there's a possibility that these people who go missing in nature are like similar city kids to us, where they just like, they walk into tall grass and they're like, I'm fucked. I'm gone. I don't know where I am.
I'm dead.
And they just lay down and die.
Take my gun.
They're like going camp. They're all going camping for the very first time. They're like, that's it. I'm there. I don't know where I am.
You ever walk into a cornfield though? That shit is scary.
Yo,
it's
it does get
terrifying.
scary. Dude, I did corn detasseling as a job for many years, and like,
Horn detasseling.
yeah, dude, that's some real
Put
Midwest shit.
your old big country ass
Yeah,
Brian
right.
Reeves over here.
Big country Brian Reeves.
Detassel these corns.
That was my summer job when I was younger, and yeah, I mean we would literally the job is to rip the tassels out of the tops of corn so they populate in the way that like farmers actually want the corn to populate, and you're doing like miles of like high corn at a time. You're doing back and forth, and that shit's scary, man. It's weird. You don't have like a lot of bearings. It's hard to, I mean, especially when you were, I mean, we were, you know, we were in middle school. If you were fucking 9 or 2 or 3, if you walked into high grass at all, you'd have no bearings.
Well, if you're 9, you're like, you can probably see over them.
Not over corn
When I was
stalks.
9, I got lost at like Target.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
real,
imagine
man.
being in a cornfield.
Yeah.
I was trying to make a 9-foot tall joke from earlier.
Damn it, I didn't catch it. You gave me the look, too. All right, I'm sorry. This
Yeah,
girl,
I was in the middle of a story.
all right, how old is she again?
All right, keep it
She's
moving.
8 years old.
Gets lost in some tall grass.
Her name's
like
Catherine.
Ryan.
She wanders into the grass. She disappears. They're searching for her for 6 days. They've got a team out there. They're walking through the woods, arm to arm. They're yelling for her. They pass by a cave and yell her name, and she just walks out of the cave and says, "Here I am." And
8 days?
What?
Yeah, 6 days. She was 8 years
6
old.
days.
She's missing for almost a week. They're just walking past the cave, and she walks her ass out. They're like, "Oh yeah, here,
Hey, what up,
present.
though?
We're doing roll call. Yeah, I'm over here."
All right, what did she say?
Nothing. She's just like,
Nothing?
No, I got lost. I was waiting for you guys to find me. This cave looked comfy.
Both these stories make me think of the Bigfoot boyfriend that you guys talked about a couple episodes ago with the woman who like ended up in the mental institution.
Yeah. and
Oh
like
yeah,
in his
'cause she got kidnapped
yanked
by a
her out.
tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bigfoot's
Yeah.
my boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah, that's
real.
Blasted in the butt by
Blasted
bisexual
in the
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, there we go.
Shout out to Chuck Tingle, everybody. Yeah.
She's just like straight. What was she eating? Like nothing?
I don't know.
Honestly, it's weird to me when people never get found again, or when they never get found again is weird. When they get found again, but they get found like 6 months later, like the Corey and Sean incident, that is also super weird. To me, when people get found again alive, far away from where they were,
Way weirder.
Those ones are the worst.
they seem to be the weirdest in my mind, because what I'm trying to do is go, something happened that took you from here to here and that prevented you from being, you said 6 days?
Yeah.
6 days that a 2-year-old?
No.
8-year-old.
8-year-old. I'm confusing the story.
Listen.
We did too many of these.
Pay attention.
An 8-year-old was gone from her entire family for 6 days living in a cave.
She had a
and
new
then,
Bigfoot family.
I mean, right? like what? I don't know. The ones where you get refound are weird to me, because it's like, what took you from A to B and kept you alive from B to C, and then
Folded up your clothes neatly and put them on a log.
fucking what the fuck?
The last thing about this last story is harder for me because I could logically see a child, 8 years old. I mean, you're not a total idiot when you're 8. You're dumb, but you're not a total idiot.
Yeah.
You know, getting lost, eating berries and shit, and drinking creek water and chilling in a cave. I could see that, but at the same time, how is there no account of what she went through? That's what I don't understand. Why would it not? There's no way she didn't talk to a local newspaper, her parents.
And that's the problem with pulling stories from the 40s.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very possible that got left out, or conveniently left out, because it makes a way better story and people talk about it on podcasts.
Yeah, that's real.
I mean, I don't totally trust. I don't want to rip the dude, but I don't totally trust.
Yeah.
That Paulides. I mean, he's the only one providing all of this information. He claims that it's sourced, but it's not always. Or he's doing the curation of all these stories and implying that they're all connected somehow, when in reality, there's no way that these are all connected.
Yeah, there's not a hard connection between
There can't be.
literally any of them.
It's literally impossible that these many stories have one explanation.
I mean, they said that in
Yeah,
his
of
books
course
they
not.
cover 1,400 different cases, something like that. I mean, like, that number is insurmountable.
And so, yes, that is crazy. It's also very possible that in 70 years, information got left out or changed, or in retelling of the story, it got juiced up a little bit, you know?
Well, you know what? That first story makes me think about, I had you watch that Werner Herzog documentary about Antarctica, which is my favorite. Everybody needs to watch this.
I still want to do an episode about Antarctica.
Yeah, you need to
sometime.
holler at your boy. We need to talk.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
What?
No.
Adventure.
That's fair.
Gorder gets the bit.
Yeah.
What Encounters at the End of the World?
Encounters at the End of the World. It's about the people who live down there, and there's some fucking weird people down there.
That's
Well,
real.
no
Herzog
shit.
is-
You
Herzog is
volunteered to
tight.
live on Antarctica.
Oh no, it's fascinating. But
The seals.
yeah, I know.
right,
You've
sorry,
been
go ahead.
you were tripping about the seals. You texted me, but what I was thinking is, I got fascinated. So there's a scientist out there who just kicks it with penguins. He doesn't give a fuck about people. Fuck people. He likes penguins.
That dude
People
could
are
barely
shit.
speak.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain if you live in Antarctica, that's a 100% your life ethos. I don't give a fuck about people.
But they
Give
got
me
like a
some
town
penguins.
and shit down there with an ice cream machine, and they play concerts. Oh, dude, watch this and you'll know what I'm talking about.
You're right.
All right.
He's right.
I'm bringing it back. Bring it back.
Go ahead.
So, they show these penguins, and certain penguins, while marching in their order, doing what they're supposed to be doing,
Yep.
being on their little cute bellies, going in, getting fish, running away from seals, all that shit. They just do a couple circles, and they dip, and they go into the continent, towards the mountains, to die. No explanation to this. They're just like, fuck it, I'm done.
I mean, look at them. Look at where they are. Look at their life.
Yeah, but you're attributing a human attribute
Dolphins
to
commit suicide.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
they don't.
Yes, they do.
How?
They smash their head into stuff.
Oh, yeah, but only in captivity, though.
Well, yeah, because in the ocean, it's fucking great. They rule the ocean.
Yeah.
You put
I
them in
think
it.
dolphins are douchebags. I just got this. I don't know, man. There's something about them I don't like. Anyway,
Stupid little pointy faces.
I don't know.
Their rounded teeth.
Never trust a dolphin.
the wrong way.
They're like frat boys in the ocean, I feel like, Like if you had to attribute.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Beer bonging through their blowholes.
God damn it. What I'm trying to say is these penguins, though, are like.
Blasted in the blowhole by a beer bong. I couldn't even get it all out.
What I'm saying? I've lost it.
No, the penguins who go into the middle of the continent to die.
suicidal penguins.
They go to the transatlantic mountains to fucking die. And that's what they do. And it's like, I don't know, man. Life's hard. Like, I get it. I could see certain people, especially you're out in nature. Maybe you're going through something. Maybe you have, a mental issue of some kind. And it's like, fuck it. And
that did come up when I was reading through this stuff today, because I was listening to that interview with Paulides where he talks about how he rules out any intentional disappearances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you know that?
That's a good point.
Like with,
most people leave a suicide note. I mean, is
real.
that true? Am I just making that up?
But there's a difference between wanting to disappear and wanting to kill yourself also.
True.
Maybe Corey couldn't
true.
stand Sean and just needed to get the fuck out of there and find a new hunting buddy in a new town. But like people do want to, and we'll get into this in a lot of depth in part 2 or part 3 of this. People do want to disappear sometimes. People want to start over. People want to get away from whatever problems they might have. You wouldn't know, by definition, they would not want you to know that. I don't know how you would sift or how you would remove those stories, those cases from what Paulides is presenting in the books.
I think the thing for me, though, is that there are, as much as we've already knocked his ability to overlap certain cases with other cases, the thing for me that's strange is when it seems like you could make two different arguments. The one argument would be that children don't have the capacity to make those decisions. They're like, the 8-year-olds are not intentionally like,
Very good point.
I'm running away from home. Oh, I'm dead. Or,
I'm off to live with the bears, mother.
I'm off to live with the bears. I mean, like, kids don't have the capacity to make those types of choices, and yet it seems like there's a lot of those.
Kids run away from home.
They do.
Not
but
2-year-olds, but yeah.
Yeah, that to me, I'm skeptical of that in its own right. And then also, there's a difference between wanting to disappear and wanting to die. And I'm not saying that this can't be both. Like, some of these instances can't be instances of people who both, maybe some people wanted to disappear and failed at disappearing and just died, or people who did want to commit suicide in some sort of strange way and go out into the wilderness until they were done. But in some ways, I also wonder, is there enough overlap from all of these where it's like, even if you stripped out the edge cases or even half of them, is there still enough that this is like too weird to be ignored, I guess?
I didn't mean to suggest that is necessarily what is happening
For sure.
in any number or especially a large number of these cases.
Yeah.
I just would disagree with Paulides' assertion that he has ruled those out.
That's fair.
I don't know how you would be able to do that. You
Yeah, I
don't
mean, I guess-
know what Corey was thinking in the moment that he walked away from the camp.
Sure.
You can guess.
You can interview friends and family and say, did they express suicidal thoughts? Were they depressed? Were they anxious? And you can look for a note. But like, even in the void of all of those things, that doesn't mean that you know that someone wasn't trying to
See,
do
that's why
something.
I would like to take like a dozen of these or more, 2 dozen of the most like, what the fuck ones.
Yeah.
And just go at them like hard.
Right,
Like not the 40s, like
more
85
recent
and up,
ones.
you know? And
Yeah.
like just run with it to see what it's about.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I give you one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll allow it.
We're in it. Let's do it. He said, I'll allow it.
I'm the king of this podcast now.
This is from the Eastern United States book. There's
Sorry, really quick.
Yep.
The fact that that dude had the ability to group books by like
Oh, yeah.
portions of
Scary
the
as
country
shit.
is kind of scary and weird.
yes. I also take issue with his assertion that there are clusters of these things, though,
That's fair.
because he'll say things like, "This phenomenon happens much more often near water." Hey, you know where people live?
Near water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he's like,
true,
"There-
yeah.
This happens very rarely in Wyoming. Hey, you know where people aren't?
Yeah,
Wyoming, fam.
Yeah.
It's like there's a high concentration of these in California. Hey, you know the most populated state in our country? It's called California. It happens to be near water.
Yeah.
So
I feel you. I guess I just mean like the fact that there were enough of these to be like, I'm just going to write 7 books and they're going to focus on different regions because there's enough in each region for me to write a whole goddamn book about it.
you know what makes more money than one book?
It's 7 books.
6 books.
Yeah.
Lillian.
6 books in a documentary and potentially 5 more following documentaries.
Man, I don't know why Dave doesn't want to come on our podcast.
Yeah, jeez.
Hey, man, it's all love. We just want to ask you some questions, bro. If you would come on the show, we could clear all this up.
Real quick before I get to the story.
Yas.
October 6th through 8th, what are you guys doing? You want to go to Colorado and hang out with Dave?
What is Dave doing in Colorado, bro?
I'm not
He's-
doing shit.
Presenting at / I think organizing the Mile High Mysteries Conference.
I'm sorry. Mile High Mystery Comp. Yeah. Okay.
Flights are real cheap from Minneapolis to Denver. Just saying.
Always have been.
You guys want to bunk up in
mysteries.
Denver and learn about Bigfoot and
I got a picture of us in like a big, tall bunk bed. No to that, but yes to this conference.
a 3-level bunk bed.
you guys want to spend a weekend smoking weed and listening to people talk about Bigfoot? Because
Yeah.
I know
Do they got
I
beer
do.
in Denver? Because I'm in.
Yes.
I think we got
Yes.
a lot of beer in Denver.
All right, last story. Lillian, she's 6 years old. She lives in Maine, 15 miles from the Canadian border. This one is going the opposite direction time-wise. We're going all the way back to 1897.
Oh, jeez.
August of
Never mind.
1897. How did we get this story?
I guess.
They had
but
newspapers and
yeah,
stuff.
they did.
I don't know. Lillian and her parents went blueberry picking, which
Bet.
aside, he claims I didn't intend to rip on David Paulides during this thing, but he adds that people going missing while picking berries is part of the profile.
It's because Bigfoot loves
No.
his berries. He said no.
Yeah. Okay. My personal aside, no, it's not, Dave. That's not how you make a profile. They were there for a short time, and the parents said that she just vanished. They turned around, she wasn't there. They searched the immediate vicinity for about an hour. They go find some other people to help them look, and they round up overnight about 200 people to help them search. So they're walking through these fields, the surrounding area. They're calling her name. They're looking. They're trying to cover every square inch. The following day, they're up to about 300 people who are looking for her. And the next morning, a guy named Bert Paulides finds her somewhere about 2.5 to 3 miles from where they had last seen her. And Lillian didn't say where she was or what happened or how she got lost. All she said was that, quote, "the sun shined the whole time while I was in the woods." So she's gone for about 48 hours, which included 2 overnights. And all she said about where she was that the sun shined the entire time that she was in the woods.
I bet it didn't.
Well, that's my line, bro.
No, I'm just saying, in my limited understanding of astronomy, I bet it didn't.
I don't know.
She got beamed
I don't
up.
know. I might be, I don't know what kind of believer I am in this shit, but that interdimensional shit, throws me off. Throws me off.
Meaning like you don't buy it or
No,
it
I
freaks
buy
you
it.
out?
I'm into it. It
Okay.
freaks me out, but I'm into it. Like some of that shit makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
robot grandma's in that case. bear taking care of people and building houses makes sense. Like
Yeah.
No, it makes sense in the like, well, it's got to be something crazy. as
Bears
fuck
have to
going
live
on.
somewhere. I mean, they probably know how to build houses.
We have we have talked about on the show before, though, that often it seems like dimensional sort of breakthroughs become this sort of interesting scapegoat for a lot of this stuff, where
Yes.
it's sort of like the cure-all for, well, if it's weird, maybe it just came into our world from another dimension and left just as easily. Like, it's a really easy way to go. It's not a living, breathing biological creature in our society. It's not something paranormal or energetic that doesn't match with our rules of how those things work. It just...
It's also a kid.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
Maybe it was a full moon that night. And
Right.
She's like, oh, the
For
sun.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, though, there is a lot of talk around those types of explanations as well. But you know, it's not to knock that as an explanation. It's to say that we have often gone, is maybe it's something like that. But it seems to be the more convenient explanation for some of this stuff.
Bigfoot,
sometimes.
aliens, all that shit is a coverall. It can be a coverall, but there's a reason those things keep coming up, as you guys have talked about before.
Right.
And just strange shit like that. That's the first thing that came to my head.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the dimensional angle, I mean, I'm with Ryan. It's a very neat, if there were to be one explanation for all of these cases, which I don't think there is, but that would be, I think, as close as you could get. But at the same time, then all you did was create a new problem of what the hell are these other dimensions and how do we sometimes access them and how do we come back from, you know.
And why would they only be in parks? That doesn't make sense either.
Because part of the profile is that these things happen near large amounts of granite.
Okay.
So,
Boo.
yeah, boulder fields.
You
of
need
granite.
your soundboard, dog.
Yeah, right. I do.
All right. We just did an hour plus on what was supposed to be the first segment of the show.
We did just do an hour on what is supposed to be the first segment, which means that we are going to have to tie things off a little sooner than we intended, but it also means that we get more parts.
Oh, shit.
Of shit that disappears, man, because we have so many more stories to tell you
Shit that disappears.
about disappearances. Shit, we should buy that and just redirect it to whatifpodcast.com. That would be amazing.
So yeah, that's going to conclude Missing 411, probably until David Paulides wants to come talk to us or we go talk to him in Denver.
Yeah.
And then next week we're going to come back with the story of the Death Valley Germans, which is a little more down-to-earth case of people disappearing.
And probably one of the, I would say, best researched and like most specific disappearances I've ever been able to dive into,
It's
which
one
is
that
cool.
looks very much like it could be a Missing 411 case at first, and then you actually get an answer for it. So it's pretty cool.
But the answer is also kind of fascinating and strange as well. So,
All right.
all right, Gordo. Well, thanks for joining us this week on the What If Podcast.
Thanks for having me,
I
guys.
think we're probably going to have you back for the next part of this show.
Hey, it would be an honor.
Because we'll be back.
You know, I'm 33 feet tall. I fucking hate dolphins.
Dude, that's your bio on the show from now on forever. All right, we love you guys. Send us an email at hi@whatifpodcast.com. Visit us online at whatifpodcast.com. And we love you, and we'll see you next week for more disappearances.